The lightning bolt arrived yesterday for John Gruden. He sued the league, he sued the commissioner after he was forced to resign following the deliberate leak of emails that he had sent in 2011. Well, the NFL has a long-standing practice of taking any case and initially looking for a way to force it into arbitration. It's presided over by the commissioner or whoever the commissioner appoints to handle the arbitration. So it's rigged and it's secret. And that's what the NFL was trying to do with John Gruden.
I don't have a disco in here. I don't have a disco. Well, let's all start dancing.
We need to talk about one of the wildest legal battles in NFL history. John Gruden, the Super Bowl winning coach who once signed a mind-blowing $100 million contract with the Las Vegas Raiders, is locked in an epic courtroom showdown with the NFL, and it just took a dramatic turn. And trust me, the story has everything: leaked emails, alleged conspiracies, a powerful commissioner under fire, and potentially hundreds of millions of dollars at stake, and even more importantly, dark secrets that the NFL doesn't want you to know about. So before we get to the content, we're giving away copies of Madden 26 to a subscriber that turns on their notifications on this channel. We are doing the same giveaway on my Instagram page at The Flight Mike. You just have to have your notifications on there, and we're going to do a separate giveaway there as well. Firstly, I want to apologize for my terrible lighting. I promise you, I'm home in 2 weeks, back to my regular setup, and in the future, when I travel, I will have a ring light on my travels. If you guys want to see what I'm up to, I just recently posted a picture on Instagram. You guys could go check that out if you're interested in seeing what I'm up to in Florence. Now that we got all that out of the way, let's get to today's video. Now, on August 11, 2025, the Nevada Supreme Court handed John Gruden a huge victory. Not a settlement, but something arguably more powerful. In a 5-2 decision, they ruled that John Gruden's lawsuit against the NFL and Commissioner Roger Goodell can proceed in an open court rather than being buried in the league's private arbitration system. So this might be some very fancy jargon for those of you guys that aren't lawyers. So what does this mean? Well, the NFL's darkest secrets might be about to see daylight, and the league is probably sweating bullets right now because this isn't just one coach's emails anymore. This could expose how the most powerful sports league in America really operates behind closed doors. So let's rewind to understand how we got here, because John Gruden wasn't just any coach. This guy was NFL royalty. After winning Super Bowl 37 with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers at just 39 years old, making him the youngest Super Bowl winning coach at the time, John Gruden became ESPN's highest paid personality. And honestly, it's not difficult to see why, because this man was a rock star behind the microphone.
I was here in 1998 as a head coach of the Raiders. We had a young quarterback named Donald Holland going up against Elway, and I gave our team several reasons why we should win this game. What happened? We lost 40-14.
Gruden reportedly pulled in $6.5 million a year to break down plays on Monday Night Football. But what was the most iconic part about John Gruden on ESPN had to have been Gruden's QB Camp, which was a series that was must-watch TV for draft nerds.
Freddie! Set it! 45!
You ever thrown it out of the stadium?
Not yet. Not yet.
Have you tried?
John Gruden's energetic personality made him one of the most recognizable faces in football, and also one of the most beloved faces in football. And in 2018, the Las Vegas Raiders brought Gruden back with a contract that made jaws drop across the league. 10 years, $100 million. Mark Davis, the Raiders owner, was betting the franchise's future on nostalgia and Gruden's offensive genius. For context, that deal was so massive that it made Gruden one of the highest paid figures in all of sports, not just football. The Raiders were essentially saying this man is worth more than most star players. But here's where the story takes its dark turn. Between 2011 and 2018, while Gruden was working at ESPN, he was firing off emails to his buddy Bruce Allen. So for those of you guys that don't know who Bruce Allen was, he was the man that was running the Washington football team. Now, for those of you guys wondering what's the problem with firing some emails to a buddy of yours, these weren't your typical, hey, how's it going emails. These emails contained racist comments about NFLPA Executive Director DeMaurice Smith, with Gruden writing that Smith had the lips the size of Michelin tires. He called Commissioner Roger Goodell a and a clueless anti-football. He mocked the drafting of Michael Sam, the first openly gay player drafted to the NFL, using homophobic slurs. He criticized women referees and shared topless photos of Washington cheerleaders. These emails were absolutely wild, and they surfaced during the NFL's investigation into workplace misconduct at the Washington football team, an investigation that reviewed approximately 650,000 emails. And here's the kicker that makes the whole thing suspicious. Out of those 650,000 emails involving countless NFL executives, coaches, and team officials, only Jon Gruden's emails were leaked to the media. The way Jon Gruden's career imploded was almost surgical in its precision, and it couldn't have come at a worse time for the Las Vegas Raiders. Bear in mind, the context of the situation is the Las Vegas Raiders recently had to deal with the Henry Ruggs DUI, and very shortly after, on Friday, October 8th, 2021, the Wall Street Journal dropped its first bomb, revealing the racist email about DeMaurice Smith. Gruden tried to weather the storm, claiming, "I don't have a racist bone in my body," and coached throughout the weekend. The Raiders beat the Broncos that Sunday, and it seemed like maybe, just maybe, that Gruden could survive this. But this is where it got a little sketchy. The NFL clearly had other plans. According to ESPN's investigation after that first leak, Commissioner Roger Goodell personally called Mark Davis and said, "You have to do something because there's more emails coming." On Monday evening, October 11th, the New York Times published a devastating expose revealing years of homophobic and misogynistic emails. Within hours, Gruden was meeting with Mark Davis, and by that Monday night, his resignation was official. In just 72 hours, one of the NFL's most prominent coaches went from the sideline to unemployment. The speed and efficiency of Gruden's downfall raised immediate red flags. As NBC Sports' Mike Florio put it, "I think it was deliberately leaked by the league, and when Jon Gruden didn't resign and wasn't fired over the weekend, they started leaking more, and I think they were going to keep leaking it until the owner of the team fired Gruden or Gruden walked away." Now, here's where the story goes from scandal to potential conspiracy, and I want to be 100% clear. Do the contents of the email paint Jon Gruden as a bad person? Absolutely. Am I defending the contents of the email that Jon Gruden put out? Absolutely not. But do I think it's personally very sketchy that the contents of these emails leaked out? Yes. And that's the whole point that Jon Gruden's trying to make. Multiple theories emerged about why the NFL would selectively target Gruden, and the most compelling was Jon Gruden and Roger Goodell had serious bad blood going back for years. In those leaked emails, Gruden didn't just criticize Goodell, he absolutely torched him. Beyond the homophobic slurs, Gruden railed against Goodell's player safety initiatives, his handling of the 2011 lockout, and his general leadership of the league. According to court documents, Gruden even refused to attend a mandatory player safety lesson at the NFL headquarters in 2011, telling Roger Goodell that "you've got to be shitting me." But the timing of the leaks suggests something even more calculated. The first email about DeMaurice Smith was leaked on the exact same day that Smith was facing a crucial re-election vote as NFLPA executive director. He was deadlocked at 7-7 and in danger of losing his job. After the racist email leaked, painting Smith as a victim of racism, he won the re-election by a single vote. ESPN later reported that Smith bragged about his role in leaking that email. Another theory involves ex-Washington owner Dan Snyder, who is facing his own suspension and investigation. ESPN sources suggested that Snyder leaked Gruden's emails as gift wrap for Goodell to get back into the commissioner's good graces and deflect attention from his own scandals. Mark Davis, the Raiders owner, was so convinced of foul play that he reportedly told people "fuck the NFL" and "fuck Dan Snyder" after Jon Gruden's resignation. On November 11th, 2021, exactly 1 month after his resignation, Jon Gruden filed a bombshell lawsuit against the NFL and Roger Goodell in Nevada State Court. His legal team didn't mince words, calling it a malicious and orchestrated campaign and Soviet-style character assassination. The lawsuit makes several explosive claims: intentional interference with his Raiders contract, civil conspiracy, and negligent handling of confidential investigation materials. Gruden's lawyers argue that the NFL deliberately leaked only his emails from the Washington investigation to destroy his career while protecting others who may have sent similar or worse communications. They want access to all 650,000 emails from that investigation, which could potentially expose widespread inappropriate behavior across the league that was covered up while Gruden was thrown under the bus. The NFL tried desperately to force this case into their private arbitration system, where they control the process and everything stays confidential. But here's where Gruden's legal team scored their biggest win yet. On August 11th, 2025, the Nevada Supreme Court ruled 5-2 that forcing Gruden into NFL arbitration would be unconscionable. Why? Because Roger Goodell, who's named as a defendant in the lawsuit, would essentially be judging a case against himself. As the court put it, allowing Roger Goodell to arbitrate disputes about his own conduct would be outrageous. This isn't just a procedural victory, but it's a game changer. Now Jon John Gruden's lawyers can conduct discovery in open court, potentially deposing Goodell under oath and accessing internal NFL communications. The league's dirty laundry could be aired for the world to see. Now, let's talk numbers because the financial implications here are staggering. When Gruden resigned, he walked away from approximately $60 million remaining on his Raiders contract. But that's just the beginning. His lawsuit seeks compensatory damages for lost earnings, plus punitive damages that could triple the total amount. Legal experts estimate that if John Gruden proves that the NFL deliberately destroyed his career, he could be awarded $200 to $300 million or more. For perspective, Gruden was ESPN's highest paid personality at $6.5 million per year before joining the Raiders. His 10-year, $100 million Raiders deal was one of the richest coaching contracts in sports history. He also lost endorsement deals, his spot in the Madden video game, and initially was removed from the Buccaneers Ring of Honor, though they've since reinstated him. The financial hit to his reputation and future earning potential is almost incalculable. The NFL has deep pockets. Each team would barely notice even a $100 million settlement split 32 ways. But it's not about the money for the league. It's about what could come out during the discovery. The potential embarrassment and legal exposure from those 650,000 emails might be worth any price to keep buried. Imagine the skeletons the NFL has in its closet. Now, before October of 2021, John Gruden's legacy was secure. He was a Super Bowl champion who'd compiled a 122 to 116 regular season record over 15 seasons, led 2 different franchises to success, and revolutionized offensive football with his West Coast offense innovations. His coaching tree included successful coordinators and head coaches across the league. Players like Derek Carr spoke glowingly about his leadership and football acumen. The email scandal initially destroyed all of that. EA Sports removed him from Madden, replacing him with a generic figure. His name became toxic in NFL circles. But here's what's fascinating. The lawsuit victory is starting to shift the narrative. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers reinstated him in their Ring of Honor in 2024. He's been consulting with teams like the Saints and Ravens. Tom Pelissero reported that Gruden was considered a hot candidate for head coaching positions in early 2025, though no team actually officially interviewed him. Could Gruden actually return to coaching in the NFL? Well, the experts are divided on that. Some point to coaches like Greg Williams, who returned after the Bountygate scandal through public contrition. Others note that Gruden's combative legal stance makes reconciliation unlikely while this lawsuit continues. He's expressed interest in coaching college football.
I want to coach again. I'd die to coach in the SEC. I would love it.
Which might be a more realistic path back to the sidelines. The most likely scenario is if Gruden wins big in court or forces a massive settlement, it could rehabilitate his image enough for a desperate NFL team to take a chance on him. The deeper you dig into this story, the wilder it gets. According to ESPN's investigation, the league created a circular firing squad of accusations within the NFL. Jeff Pash, the NFL's general counsel, was reportedly furious and blamed Dan Snyder's law firm. Some league insiders pointed fingers at Desiree Perez from Rock Nation. 4 different NFL owners told ESPN that they believed Roger Goodell himself was personally involved in orchestrating the leaks. Mark Davis, the Raiders owner, felt completely betrayed by the league. He was blindsided by the emails that NFL executives had known about for months. One source said that Davis was surprised by the emails months after Goodell, Pash, and other owners knew about them. The timing felt like a setup. Why wait until mid-season to leak emails discovered months earlier? Even more suspicious was, unlike previous leaks, Goodell never ordered his usual internal investigation where staff phones and computers are searched for communications with reporters. It's as if the NFL didn't want to know who leaked the emails or already knew and wanted to protect them. Players have had mixed reactions to the entire saga. Derek Carr, Gruden's quarterback, captured the complexity perfectly. I love the man, but you hate the sin. He's also made a fascinating point about the selective nature of the leaks. If we just started opening up everybody's private emails and texts, people will start sweating a little bit. His comment hits at what many people around the league suspect, that Gruden's emails might be the tip of a very large, very problematic iceberg. So what does this mean for Roger Goodell and the NFL's credibility? While this lawsuit represents the most direct challenge to Roger Goodell's authority in his tenure as commissioner, if Gruden's allegations are proven true, that the NFL selectively leaked his emails while protecting others, it would confirm what many critics have long suspected, that the league plays favorites and uses investigations as weapons against those who cross them. And if you compare this to other NFL scandals, you'll get what I'm saying. During Deflategate, Tom Brady challenged the NFL's arbitration system but ultimately lost. Colin Kaepernick settled his collusion case before damaging discovery could occur. The Rams relocation lawsuit ended with a massive $790 million settlement to avoid trial. Brian Flores' discrimination lawsuit is fighting similar arbitration battles. In each case, the NFL has desperately tried to avoid public trials where internal communications might be exposed. But Jon Gruden's case is way different. He's already won the right to a public trial. He's made it clear that he wants to burn the house down and won't settle for any amount. His lawyer says that they want to hold the NFL accountable and bring Gruden full justice. This isn't about money anymore. It's about vindication and exposing what Gruden's team calls the NFL's Soviet-style character assassination. The NFL's only remaining option to avoid trial is appealing to the US Supreme Court, which legal experts say is unlikely to take the case. If discovery proceeds, we could see Roger Goodell testifying under oath about how the league handles investigations, why certain information gets leaked while other information stays buried, and whether the NFL really does weaponize private communications against its enemies. As of August of 2025, Jon Gruden's lawsuit against the NFL is very much alive and entering its most dangerous phase for the league. The Nevada Supreme Court's 5-2 decision blocking arbitration means that this case will play out in public unless the NFL either wins a Supreme Court appeal, which like I said is unlikely, or offers a settlement so massive that Gruden just can't refuse, which is also unlikely given how Jon Gruden is literally out for blood here. The discovery process could begin within months, potentially revealing not just who leaked Gruden's emails, but what other damaging communications exist in those 650,000 Washington investigation emails. Imagine the chaos of emails from other coaches, executives, or even owners contained similar or worse content that was deliberately kept secret while Gruden was destroyed. For Gruden, this represents a chance at redemption that seemed impossible in October of 2021. Yes, he wrote those offensive emails, that's not in dispute, but if he can prove the NFL selectively targeted him while protecting others who did the same or worse, it transforms him from villain to victim in this story. The narrative shifts from racist coach gets what he deserved to powerful league destroys man who criticized commissioner. The broader implications stretch beyond Jon Gruden. This case could fundamentally change how the NFL handles investigations, employee disputes, and information management. It might embolden other former employees to challenge the league's arbitration system. It could expose systematic problems with how the NFL protects certain individuals while destroying others. Most importantly, it might finally answer the question that's haunted this scandal from day one. Out of 650,000 emails, why was Jon Gruden the only one whose career was destroyed? This isn't over, not by a long shot. The NFL is fighting for its reputation, Jon Gruden is fighting for his legacy, and football fans are about to get a front row seat to potentially the most explosive trial in sports history. Whether Jon Gruden emerges victorious with hundreds of millions of dollars in damages, or the NFL manages to keep its secrets buried, one thing's for certain, the league will never be quite the same after this legal battle continues. And you know whose career also might not be the same following a recent lawsuit? Shohei Ohtani. The man is involved in a lawsuit that could without a doubt ruin his life, and he could potentially see jail time as a result of it. We have a separate video on that on our baseball channel. I'm going to leave it in the end screen and I'll meet you guys there. Aside from that, I'm your boy Mike, and I'm dropping our mic until our next upload.